Hey fam, and welcome to the Happily Ever Active podcast, powered by Fit for the Magic, where Disney magic meets health and wellness. I'm Stephen Kabibi, your friendly personal healthcare companion, and I help travelers like you physically prep for your next vacation so that you can walk more, enjoy longer days, and make magical memories without burnout. This week, Ashley from Magic and Wellness joined me to talk about how to plan and build your meals and snacks to feel your best at Disney World. We went over things like the ideal ratio of fiber, protein, and carbohydrates for your meals to feel more energetic all day, how to enjoy your favorite Disney sweet treats without the energy crash. We went over some of her favorite and recommended restaurants at each Disney World theme park to have well-balanced meals. We went over how your food choices are related to things not just like bloating and constipation, but also headaches, and so much more. Find everything, including my pocketbook guide, Disney Ready, your pain-free park survival guide, over at fitforthemagic.com. And if you learned something useful on this episode, please share this show and tell a friend. Okay, here we go. I'm really happy to have Ashley of Magic and Wellness back on the podcast tonight. We are going to be covering a topic that a lot of listeners are going to be really interested in learning about, and that is how to plan and build your meals to feel your best at Disney. Ashley, it's good to have you back. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be back.
Awesome. I'm really happy and excited to learn about all of your strategies to build your meals on your Disney vacation so you feel your best, you avoid the bloat, you avoid the sugar crash, and you feel energized all day, all week. So this is going to be good. This is going to be really good.
I'm very excited.
Okay, let's go. Go ahead and lead me through this. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So really when we're thinking about balancing, we want to think about first why balance even matters when you're on vacation. So we want to make sure we are getting in that balance, that protein, fat, carb, fiber, because it's going to help keep our blood sugar steady. So I am the blood sugar expert. I call myself your blood sugar bestie because we don't want crashing, especially when we are in Disney, because Disney's so much fun. You don't want to waste any time that you have in the parks crashing or feeling exhausted. So we want to get you that stable energy, fewer cravings, better moods, because people can get a little cranky on Disney vacations as well. And then I always recommend taking a break on a Disney day. I know you do as well. But if you are trying to get in a full day, this is going to keep you satiated and giving you energy all day long so that you can make it through a long park day. So when we have unbalanced meals in Disney, which I see quite often while I'm there, so people just snacking on popcorn throughout the day or getting nachos or churros and not getting in some protein, fat, and carb, you will see those like screaming kids or even adults kind of like bickering. And a lot of times it's food related, and I don't even think people realize how much food really does affect your mood. So that's why balance is absolutely so important.
That makes a ton of sense. I think, and this goes for myself too. Like, we don't really think about, oh, that kid's really irritable. That kid's, or you actually, you're really thinking, oh my gosh, that kid was a little annoying. Let's go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like Space Mountain or Tiana's is like more than 45 minutes, and you're like, God, like why that? And then you're just kind of going off, and you don't really realize what's going on because you're so emotional. And a lot of times it sounds like the root cause of that is what you've been eating, how much you've been eating, or the fact that you haven't been eating all morning, and you need some food and you need some fuel.
Yeah, it's interesting seeing, like, I went with my niece and nephew a couple months ago and seeing them have just Mickey waffles for breakfast and then their energy throughout the day versus when they have like a Chomps bar and Mickey waffles, their energy was different during the day. And it goes for adults too and kids, and like, you want to set yourself up for success so that when you are waiting in line for 45 minutes for a ride, you're not bickering the whole time and you can actually enjoy your time together. So yeah, it's so important.
Yeah, and I'm gonna emphasize something that you mentioned because I think you're gonna bring it up again later. But the fact that you can also enjoy some of your favorite sweet treats and
Yep.
still have the energy for walking all day at Disney. That is
Yes.
totally possible. I feel like you're going to bring that up, so I don't want to
Yeah.
steal your thunder, okay?
No, I say that all the time. It's like, I feel like when people think about nutrition or, changing up their diet lifestyle in any way, they're like, oh, I'm going to have to cut out my favorite things. It's like, that is not the truth at all. Like,
Right.
I enjoy Dole Whip. I enjoy churros. I enjoy Mickey Waffles. I have cocktails and mocktails, and I enjoy myself in Disney, but I do it without the hanger and without the crashing and without, the total just like energy crash halfway through the day is not fun.
No.
So, yeah, you can
Definitely
have all
not.
those things and feel your best and have your best mood and energy.
I love that. All right, cool. So
Okay.
without further ado, let's dig into it.
Okay, so first I'm going to get into just the basics of planning your plate. Now think about this, of course, when you're in Disney, but also you can use these tips when you're at home for building any and every plate that you eat. We always want protein, fat, carb. Fiber also goes into carb, which we'll get into. So protein is so important because that's what's going to give you energy throughout the day. It's going to build and repair your body, and it's going to actually keep you full longer. Fats are important because they actually make your food taste good. So if you grew up in the 80s and 90s, you probably are scared of fat, or maybe you're healing from being scared of fat and full fat things. But fat is so important for us being satiated and for our food tasting good and for giving us energy. It's also going to help with hormone balance, like ghrelin, which is our hunger hormone, and leptin, which is our fullness hormone. So, when you're building that plate at home or in the parks and you feel like you're constantly hungry, a lot of times it's because you didn't have enough fat on your plate. And then carbs. We know what carbs are, right? We know potato chips, cookies, cakes, like Mickey Waffles, everything.
Yes.
All the good stuff. But also, fiber is a form of carb. And it's one that's often forgotten. So we want to make sure that we're getting in fiber because it's actually going to slow down digestion so that we feel a little bit fuller and we have energy throughout the day a little bit more. It's also going to help with that, travel constipation or travel diarrhea. Fiber really does help with both of those things, even though it's not as, fun to talk about. So how we're going to utilize this information to build our plate. So when we're building our plate, we want half of our plate to be fiber. That can be leafy greens, veggies, one half of the half. So a fourth could even be fruit. Fruit counts as fiber as well. And there's so many great antioxidants and nutrients in fruit. So when you're building your plate, always make sure you have half of your plate filled with fiber, including fruit. I'm not saying all half of your plate be filled with fruit. We still want to get some of that leafy greens, some of those fibrous veggies like broccoli, kale, spinach, anything like that in there is going to be helpful.
Is that because of the sugar content in fruit?
Yeah, just because
partially
sugar
why?
does contain like fructose, which isn't going to necessarily cause a huge sugar spike, but we still want to have the non-sugary things in there to kind of balance things out a little bit.
Sure, got it.
And then 1/4 of your plate is going to be your protein. So that could be steak, chicken, your protein of choice. And then, if you're in Florida, fish as well. I'm not in Florida. I'm in Kansas, which is not fun to eat fish here.
Landlocked.
Yeah. And then the other 1/4 of your plate can be your carbs. So that can be your starchy complex carb, like potatoes, rice, quinoa, anything like that, or your more fun carbs as well. So that's how we're going to build out our plate. We've got 1/2 fiber, 1/4 protein, and 1/4 carb.
Cool.
And
Got
again,
it.
that is helpful for Disney and just everyday life.
Love it. Can you touch on the fat part of that then and how
Yes.
that gets built in on the plate?
Absolutely. So fat, we like to think about what we're cooking our food with. So that can be
Okay.
olive oil, butter, ghee, anything like that. When you're in Disney, they're going to typically use vegetable oils, which aren't going to be as helpful for our hormones and our energy, but it's what we're working with, right? Other fats that you can bring in are going to be yogurt. Cheese is a great fat. Nuts and seeds, which are typically on a lot of salads, especially in Disney, or if you're bringing trail mix, things like that. Those are going to be more of those fatty things. Avocado is a great fat to bring in as well.
A lot of that stuff, like you said, is readily accessible too at Disney, which is great.
Yeah.
Cool. With that said, why don't we go ahead and go over like maybe examples?
Yeah, we can absolutely go through some examples.
Okay.
So a couple places that I like to go in Disney that are going to have more balanced options when you're eating, specifically Hollywood Studios, we're talking Roundup Rodeo Barbecue. There are some really great options, especially for kids there. You're going to have watermelon, which isn't just going to contain some fiber, it's also going to contain a lot of hydration and minerals that are going to keep you hydrated throughout the day. There's like tomato salad there, I think, that is also really beneficial.
Very
Then
good.
they're going to bring out a spread of protein. You're going to have so many protein options like pulled pork and chicken. And then you're going to get in some great carb as well. So they're going to have like pasta salad and potato barrels and things like that. Another great option in Hollywood Studios is going to be like Docking Bay 7. They are so good about balancing meals there. There is always going to be a protein and a carb, but they always make sure that they get in that healthy fiber. So a lot of times it's like a slaw or a veggie medley or something like that. When it comes to Animal Kingdom, Satuli Canteen is perfect for this as well because, again, we're thinking like they're always going to have that fibrous fiber side there that's really going to keep you satiated and full and slow down digestion throughout the day. They always put that on every single plate. Even most of the kids' meals will have something like that. Nomad Lounge is also a great option, especially for my gluten-free friends because they have the best gluten-free churros on property. I tell you, they're so good. And then they have a lot of great protein options. So if you're looking at their menu, there's so many great protein options to choose from that are going to keep you filled with energy all day long. And then Epcot Spice Road Table is one of my go-tos. The chefs there are amazing, and they really do try to balance out those meals. And you're going to get a lot of healthy fats in with Spice Road Table specifically. And then if you're wanting a good balanced sit-down restaurant, Le Cellier is perfect because they get in a lot of that great protein with high-quality steaks. But then they also have a lot of really great balanced sides as well that you can get with your steak. Those are mine for Animal Kingdom, Hollywood, and Epcot. And then for Magic Kingdom, Pecos Bill is my go-to. I tell everyone Pecos Bill is great because they have so many good balanced options. I think something that we can all kind of fall prey to as well in Disney is that we get really big portions, right? And so when you could, in Magic Kingdom, you can always go to Pecos Bill and get like a children's meal. And, that way you can fill up on those churros later without filling up so much on, other food. So Pecos Bill is a great option. And then Jungle Skipper Canteen, again, is like those other restaurants. They always make sure that you have some sort of fiber on your plate so you don't even have to think that hard about ordering it.
These are all wonderful options, and it's really cool to hear these options said by someone like you, a nutritional therapy practitioner, because these are places that I tend to frequent the most.
That's awesome.
Which is awesome. And for a long time I was thinking, I love these places because I love the way the food tastes. But then I realized as you were talking and explaining how to build your plate and then what options are there to help you, stay with those ratios of carb to fat to protein, right? Then I realized, you know what? I'm building my plate that way, and that's the reason why I like these places, because they make me feel good. So it's not necessarily like, I'm consciously looking for the healthy decision, but it's really,
it just kind of happens.
It kind of just happens. Yeah. And I'm eating there, and I realize, this is a big contributor to why I feel good when I'm at Disney, which is great.
Yeah.
Which is really good.
I think so many people get so excited to go to try all of the really carb heavy options and they forget about all the amazing balanced options as well. And I think that's my favorite thing about like festivals is there's so many good balanced options. Like there's so many great carb options, but also a lot of fiber. You're going to get in a lot of fiber. They really do try and I feel like experiment with different fibers in festivals. And of course like great protein, there's always great protein options at every Epcot festival.
That's so true. And your combinations are pretty much endless.
Yeah.
Which is great.
You could go to like every single booth and get something different and have the most balanced meal ever.
Yes, absolutely, which is awesome. And if you're with a group, you can just like split up and be like, hey, you're looking at your booklet and you're like, you're going to get this, I'm going to get this, we're going to meet in the middle.
Exactly.
And we're going to have like a buffet.
We're going to have like a feast of balanced foods. It's going to be amazing.
It's going to be amazing.
I feel like, I can't remember, I feel like when we went to Festival of the Arts this year, there was like bone marrow or something, and which was so beneficial for your gut and your skin. And I was like, filling up on that. It was so good. And I was like, yes, Epcot. I love this for us.
Yes. That is awesome. That is so awesome. And on top of that, like not only do you have a bunch of combinations at one festival, you got like 4 festivals throughout the year. So you have even more options, which is great.
Yes. I'm really looking forward to Always Food and Wine. I feel like they have such amazing just like root vegetables. Root vegetables are so beneficial for us when it comes to vitamins and nutrients. And they're such a good carb to help balance out our blood sugar as well. That's my favorite festival because they really go deep into like the root vegetables, and I feel amazing while I'm there when I'm eating those.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Really quick before we move on,
yes.
I'm gonna look again through that list that you were mentioning, but like some restaurants that are not as talked about, I would say would be one obvious one is Spice Road Table. I feel like
Yes.
Spice Road Table is so underrated.
I agree.
I went there for the first time with my wife I think we did this so that we can go sit towards the front at the candlelight processional, right? So we had the dining package there. But that was our first time there, and we ate there, and we were like, why haven't we even thought about going here before? Everything there is not just so good, but it's also really well balanced. Because like you said, it's got the carbs, it's got the fats, it's got the protein and the fiber. Like it's all there for you. It's great.
Yeah. And that mint tea is amazing. Mint is so beneficial for us that it's like, sign me up for that as well.
Yes, it's so good. It's so tasty. That's the other thing too, is everything you mentioned so far, and Disney does a great job at doing this. So, credit goes to Disney, of course, but credit to you for pointing it out. All of these restaurants that you've mentioned so far, and, we'll dive deeper into these restaurants in the future, but all of these restaurants you mentioned so far not only have well-balanced food options, but, they're all really tasty.
Yeah, they
They're
taste
really
good too. I think that's like the misconception is that if you're eating healthy, it doesn't taste good, which is not always the case.
Right. And again, you're helping your clients and our listeners find a way to make sure that you can have a well-balanced meal, have it taste good, and still enjoy yourself at Disney. You're also building your meal according to what Disney has to offer, right?
Exactly.
So you have to also, I think we also have to give ourselves some grace. Like you said before, Disney tends to use vegetable oils to cook. Yeah. Not necessarily the healthiest option, but it'll still work for what you got. It's
not the end of the world either. Yeah. And that's the thing is like, we can't stress ourselves out on vacation. That being said though, one of my friends is also a big Disney person. She was on the AIP diet. So that's the autoimmune protocol. So there's a lot of chefs on Disney property that are really versed in that.
Right.
So talking to them about anything that you need, like if you are really like intense about avoiding those vegetable oils, there are so many restaurants on Disney property that are going to cater to that for you.
And the head chef will personally walk up to you if you ask them, only if you ask them. So, make sure that if you have a sensitivity to some certain type of foods, you're dealing with something that requires you to have like an AIP diet, call for the chef. The chef will come out to you to talk to you about exactly what you need. They'll give you the food. I think, because I was sitting with a friend one time who had to talk to the chef about their food allergy. And when they bring the food out to you, they always mark it with what you need. So yeah, like you said, Disney does a great job at accommodating for that.
Yeah, I've had so many messages from nutritional therapy friends that are like, oh, so-and-so's going to Disney, or I'm going to Disney and I'm so worried because I'm gluten-free or I'm avoiding this. And I'm like, you're going to the best place for that, honestly. Like they are going to take such good care of you. If you have a need, you will be taken care of.
Yeah, they do really, really good job. So far, you've done a really good job describing the plate that you want to build, options that you have. Where are we going from here?
So I think kind of getting into snacks, because I think that can be really difficult for some people to figure out how to have their sweets during the day, but also kind of balancing it out.
Let's do it.
Okay, so something that people can really struggle with is snacking in Disney, because if you are walking around the world, let's say you're getting to Epcot at 11 a.m. and you want to snack all the way through the day, which, because you're on vacation, it's okay if you do that every once in a while. You want to know how to balance things out. So when we are going to have, our sweeter treats or our carb heavy treats, we want to make sure that we are having them with some protein. So some tips for that is, of course, looking for protein at quick service restaurants. So Epcot, again, is going to be one of the best places to do that. You can always find protein somewhere in Epcot. One of my favorites is like Japan grabbing some sushi, like really, really quick, because you're going to have protein, fat, carb there, and you're going to be satiated and then still, hungry enough to enjoy a sweet treat. So something else we want to think about with snacking too is liquid sugar, because we are drinking around the world, right? Like we're drinking soda or we are having mocktails or cocktails. Liquid sugar is one of the biggest impacts on your blood sugar. So we want to make sure that we are also enjoying those with some protein, fat, carb, fiber. So some of my tips that I always keep with me is I always keep some sort of meat stick with me. So I have a Paleo Valley bar, a Chomps bar. Chomps is so readily available. You can get that at like any grocery store or any gas station these days. Archer Farms makes some really great ones as well. And then I always keep a protein bar on me also, because let's say that you're having brunch, but you woke up at 7 a.m. to rope drop or something and you don't want to stop for breakfast. We want to make sure you're getting in something. So getting one of those really high quality protein bars. And I actually just tested these all out on my Instagram of which ones are best.
Yes.
Yeah, for blood sugar. So Aloha bars are great for blood sugar. RAR bars are the best. You order those online. They are so tasty. The Only bar from Truvani is a great option. RX bars are also another great option that are also so readily available at any grocery store, really.
Yeah.
Another great option is trail mix. Trail mix can be really beneficial because we're getting in nuts and seeds, which are going to have protein and fat, which are going to help keep things a little bit balanced. If you have access to a refrigerator or needing something on Disney property, cheese sticks or Baby Bell cheese are also going to have a little bit of protein and some fat in there that are going to slow down all of that glucose in the system from having that sweeter treat.
You just rattled off a ton of great examples. No, this is great. This is awesome because not only are you giving concrete examples for our listeners, you're also pointing out, hey, you can have that sweet treat. You just got to make sure that you have something along with it so that you avoid the blood sugar crash.
Exactly.
Losing all that energy.
Yes.
And then I think something to emphasize that you said earlier was having that one of those like protein bars or the trail mix, having them ready to go in the morning, especially when you plan on waiting until brunch because you've got a reservation, or waiting until you get to Epcot, but then the booths don't open till like 11 o'clock, right? So to keep you satiated in such a way that you'll still have energy throughout the day, because I think the big mistake for a lot of listeners, and this goes for myself, so I'm a culprit to this too, but like it's really easy to, if you're staying on Disney property, you wake up and you're like, I'm going to just save my stomach for brunch.
Oh, I still try to do that. As a nutritional therapist, I'm like, I'm fine.
Right. But then
and my husband's like, you're not. That's not happening.
And then, it gets time to go down to the bus to get to the theme parks. And you're like, I'm going to just quickly grab a bite to eat at the quick service.
Yep.
It ends up being like a blueberry muffin. You know what I mean? Bunch of sugar, a bunch of carbs.
And then that just starts you on that roller coaster ride.
Right, exactly. And then halfway, I was about to say halfway through the day, you're like, I ate a good meal. Like, what's going on? And that's all because you started your day on the wrong foot.
Exactly. And starting your day is so important, which I know we talked about it last time, but always having protein with your breakfast. So that muffin, for example, get that muffin, but eat your beef stick on the bus. But right before you have your muffin, that's like really going to help with that glucose spike so that you're not crashing or craving or snapping at someone later because all you had was a blueberry muffin for breakfast.
Right. And again, meat stick before or after?
Always before. So, I always recommend starting with your fiber if you have it. So if you're on the go, you want to have your protein first. So if I was going to grab that blueberry muffin from quick service and eat my meat stick on the bus, I want to start out with my protein because protein is a little bit harder to digest. It's going to take a little bit longer time for my body to break down all the protein. So then I eat my beef stick and then I have my blueberry muffin on top of my beef stick. So my body's digesting that beef stick, and by the time it finally gets to the blueberry muffin, it's slowing down. So the glucose isn't just hitting my bloodstream quickly, it's taking its time hitting my bloodstream. Then my body has all that time to release insulin to kind of bring down that blood sugar spike, so you're not having such a big spike and such a big dip.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So the timing definitely does matter, right?
Yes, absolutely. And then if you're at a sit-down meal, so let's say that you are at Jungle Skipper Canteen and you have your fiber, your carb, and your protein. You always want to start out with your fiber because again, like protein, fiber is harder to break down in our digestive system. So it's going to slow everything down. So by the time you get to your carb, or even by the time you get to your Dole Whip after, because obviously you're getting a Dole Whip after Jungle Skipper Canteen. You have to.
It's right there.
It's right there. You have to. By the time you get to that Dole Whip, your body's been breaking down this fiber. It's been breaking down your chicken from dinner. And then it's going to start to break down that carb or that sweet. So that by the time that glucose is hitting your bloodstream, it's a lot slower than it just slamming all in there all at once.
Yeah, that makes sense. So to recap, with snacks, if it's a snack, you start with the protein, then you go with the sugar, the carb.
Yes.
If it's a meal, you start with the the fiber, and then the protein. Usually, it's the protein with the carb. So I guess at that point, as long as you've had the fiber first, then that starts the slower digestion process and sets you up for success when you get to the rest of your meal.
Yes.
Cool. I love that.
Yeah. Because, so often we start with the carb or with the sweet, and then we'll have it afterwards, but you'll still notice you're going to have that big blood sugar spike. It might come down a little bit faster, but you still might have that crash a little bit later. And you're going to be craving things more because that sugar just went right into your system.
Right.
A lot of people see bloating more, headaches more. When you have the savory first and then the sweet, you notice you'll feel a lot better.
Headaches too, huh?
Yeah. Headaches and blood sugar go hand in hand.
Got it. We learned in PT school, headaches, there's a lot of different causes of headaches. We talked about cervicogenic headaches, where it's like tension at the base of your neck that comes around your skull. We talked about headaches that come from different, like, other root causes. But blood sugar related headaches, that's new for me. So
yes. Yeah.
Talk to me about that really quick.
Yeah. Blood sugar and headaches go hand in hand. It's almost like the tension band around the head is typically what I see with my clients, or right behind the eyes. A lot of times it's because we've had that big blood sugar spike, and then you get all that release of insulin, and it really just kind of weighs the body down itself. It just really makes you feel sleepy and tired, and it causes a lot of inflammation in the body. And a lot of headaches can be caused by inflammation. So,
right.
And then I see a lot of headaches when we're not getting in enough healthy fats. So when we're eating, when you've been at Disney for a few days and you've had these maybe not so great oils and not getting in enough healthy fats or healthy fiber, you can have headaches, on the plane ride home or the next couple of days, because you're still getting in all those healthy fats afterwards and you've kind of been depleted of them. So I see headaches of course, headaches can be caused, like you said, so many different root causes, but I see a lot with blood sugar regulation for sure.
Got it. Wow. I learned something new today. Yeah. This is great. This is why we're having this conversation.
Yes.
So that's awesome. That's awesome. Cool. So where do you want to go from here? We talked about snacks. We talked about timing.
Yeah.
And we also covered a little bit of a breakfast, right?
Yes.
And then timing. And then in terms of like lunch and then dinner, a lot of those concepts are pretty much, they overlap with each other, which is great. Yeah. Any final strategies you want to go over really quick?
Just always balance. That is what we are all about, is that you can enjoy anything you want to enjoy, just balance it out. So big things to watch for. Definitely sugar, especially liquid sugar, because you're drinking around the world in Epcot, or maybe you're at Hollywood Brown Derby Lounge. Like, whatever it is, you're going to have some liquid sugar. Just make sure you're having it with food. You kind of see people, around Epcot maybe acting a fool a little bit, and you're like, they probably just should have had some food. Or, so many people are like, I want to get a drink in each country. It's like, well, make sure you're eating with that, because otherwise you're going to be on a whole blood sugar roller coaster ride. And again, not a fun roller coaster ride. So watching out for liquid sugar is great. And then making sure that you're just watching your carb, avoiding naked carbs at all costs when you're especially on vacation, so that we are avoiding all those hanger meltdowns or bickering or the crashes itself. Just making sure that you are avoiding naked carbs at all costs, putting some clothes on your carbs. So beef sticks, protein bars, grabbing a turkey leg if that's your vibe. I don't care.
You clearly have something against turkey legs here.
I actually don't think I've ever had one in Disney because it gives me the ick a little bit. Should I try one? I don't know.
You know what? I want to do an experiment sometime and have a turkey leg here at Disney World and then have one at Disneyland. I'm a big fan of the turkey leg at Disneyland personally. But I don't think I've ever had a turkey leg here. I do know that the Disney turkey leg originated here at Disney World, so I got to give credit where credit's due.
Yeah.
But I also recognize the amount of people that have their thoughts against the turkey leg, so I'll respect that.
Even if it was like anywhere else, I don't know. I don't want to walk around with a giant stick of meat, I guess. I'm like, Fair enough. Not my vibe. But if that's your vibe, I'm proud of whoever's eating those, because you're getting in some great protein and you're going to feel great.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Speaking of Disneyland has the best food, in my opinion. When we went to Disney, it was so easy to balance out our meals. There was so much protein, and it was really great protein, and there were so many great fiber options. So we definitely want to go back to Disneyland so we can enjoy like really balanced meals.
Yeah, as a native Californian, that was probably the one biggest change going from Disneyland to Disney World. Like, I know Disney World has size on its side.
Yes.
But man, the food at Disneyland, I hate to say it, it's hard to beat. It really is hard to beat.
It really was. And I'm like, we're annual pass holders. We love Disney World so much, but like going to Disneyland, I was like, oh, this is where like the food's at.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, not to go off on another tangent, but again, a lot of it is because a lot of the people that go to visit Disneyland, they're all locals, right? They all live, within 6 to 8 hours of a drive away, which is in California terms, that is quite a short drive compared to, here we have a lot of international guests, a lot of people coming from out of state. So it's a different vibe, and, Disney has to make sure that they cater to that certain vibe.
And we are very grateful they do in Disneyland, because that was such a fun journey, eating at everywhere we possibly could. Everything we had. It was very unlike Disney World in that way.
I would love to go on a trip with you to one of the international parks, like Tokyo Disney. We got to go there together, and I'd love to see how you plan your meals and construct everything. I
want to go so bad. We're actually planning a trip to Disneyland Paris right now for next October.
Oh, that's so awesome.
So, yeah,
so awesome.
I've heard some things about the food, but it's Paris, so we gotta try it.
You'll figure something.
But then Tokyo's next on the list.
There you go.
Yeah.
Knowing you're gonna figure out something really good and you're gonna share it with everyone. So
yes,
it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Ashley, where can everyone find you?
Yes, I am Magic and Wellness on Instagram. My website is also magicandwellness.com. But I am just really active over here on Instagram.
Yeah, super active on Instagram. She's posting every day on her stories. She's basically showing you how to live your best life, eating healthy, and having all the energy. So, Ashley, it's been wonderful having this talk. I look forward to talking with you again soon.
Thank you so much.
That's all for today's episode on how to plan and build your meals and your snacks so that you feel your best at Disney. A Disney World vacation can mean walking 15, 20,000, maybe even more steps per day. And if your body's not physically prepared for that, it'll pay the price in soreness, pain, exhaustion, or even injury. This 30-day Disney walking challenge is designed to start gentle and then progress in length and intensity so that you'll conquer the Disney parks all day without burnout. Every day for 30 days, you'll be guided through your challenge with your walking workout for the day, an inspirational Disney quote, and a PDF worksheet so that you can track your progress. You will be amazed how much stronger and more confident you'll feel by the end of this challenge. Head over to fitforthemagic.com/30, that's 30, to sign up for your 30-day Disney walking challenge. Now, I want to turn it over to you. What is your favorite restaurant to get a healthy meal when you're at Disney World? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. If you love what you hear and you want to learn more, I encourage you to head over to fitforthemagic.com, where you can find your free guide, 15 must-have items for a pain-free Disney trip. And if you enjoy this episode, please make sure to share it with anyone that might benefit from it. And of course, please leave a rating or review in your favorite podcast app if you enjoyed the show. This helps me tremendously as I move forward with new episodes to come. I hope you'll tune in to learn more about how to have a pain-free, soreness-free, and exhaustion-free vacation so that you can make magical memories with your loved ones.